I got you.
All right, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode 136 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my pandemic podcasting partner, Mr. Travis White. And Travis, what a wild world we live in now. It's been a while since we last podcasted. The world was so much different 10 days ago when we were on a plane and in New York City. I mean, so much has changed. But I'll tell you what, we have been preparing for this for a long time because we have been practicing social distancing with our podcast since day one, man. 200 miles between us every single week.
That's right. Yeah, we announced, or we mentioned last week that we've only done, 4 quote-unquote live episodes out of 136. So, yeah. We've been doing the social distancing thing before it was cool. So, yeah.
And just,
you're right.
Just incredible timing, man. This is true fate, truly meant to be that literally the weekend before the world fell apart due to this coronavirus pandemic, we were able to go fly to New York, meet The Undertaker, shake hands with him, which seems regretful in hindsight. I really hope we didn't pass anything along to the dead man. He is creeping into that danger zone of senior citizen level.
Oh, no.
But, literally, when we got back home is when it all started going haywire, man. Like, it's just incredible that it worked out that way.
Well, it makes me so much more grateful for the experience as well. Honestly, in hindsight, it's like, man, like if it had been 2 days later, like we wouldn't have gotten to go probably, or they would have canceled it or whatever. So, but it was it is what it is, man. It's great, and I'm glad we got to do it. And like you said, we might be the last time anyone ever gets to do that, So we may not do those anymore.
I don't think Taker's coming to our barbecue anytime soon, but we'll be sure to have plenty of Purell if he does decide to make it over there. And we'll keep it under 10 people. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, it is a crazy time that we're living in. I know people have uncertainty with the virus itself. A lot of people have uncertainty with their jobs right now, and people getting laid off and everything. We do take that very seriously, and we want to continue to do this podcast. And for the few of you that are out there listening, we hope it can provide a little bit of relief, a little bit of a break from all the news and all the insanity out there, a little humor, a little just a little bit of excitement and fun amidst all this craziness. So we're going to keep on plugging along with all that, keep on doing that, and we're feeling well and healthy. And like I said, we're millions of miles or hundreds of miles apart, so not breathing on each other or anything like that.
We're good to go, man. Yeah, let's keep it light and keep it fun. And isn't that the LFO band, Light Funky Ones? We might as well call us that as we keep going through this coronavirus.
We'll keep it light and funky here as we are talking about Backlash 2008, dude. We're going to go back and pick up where we left off from WrestleMania. We're going to continue on. Like we said, it's all Edge and Big Show this year in 2008 as far as The Undertaker goes, and it's all Edge for a long, long time. So we're going to...
Two guys that had been there since 98 and 99 with Taker, and then a decade later, they're just lighting up the main event scene with him. It's just crazy.
And they're still there in 2020. There's going to be a lot of that on this episode. A lot of interesting. These guys are still doing stuff here in 2020 that we're going to talk about here, man. And well, before we jump into it, let's talk about 2020, man. We just saw one of the strangest Undertaker segments in years on Monday Night Raw, where The Undertaker performed in front of a empty audience at the Performance Center, and it's right now, it's a possibility that he'll be performing in front of an empty audience at WrestleMania. I mean, what did you make of Undertaker and AJ Styles' contract signing the other night, Travis?
Well, his fastest entrance to the ring ever, probably, not on a motorcycle. So he made a beeline for that ring. It was neat to see that. And then the whole thing I was talking to you about before we started recording is like him, I don't know which character this is or where it's headed, because he's Undertaker, but AJ's calling him Mark, but he's kind of got that American BA kind of, like attitude about him and swagger and stuff. So who knows, man? I'm interested to see where the story's going. And you and I were talking beforehand, like we hope that, we hope that this WrestleMania could be in front of fans somehow, like in a safe way, maybe later on in the year or whatever, or just, who knows? We'll see what happens. But if he is going to come back as, the Kid Rock guy, like he needs to have fans there to ride the motorcycle down in front of. So.
Oh, yeah. He can't be Big Evil riding out in the Performance Center to an empty audience, dude. It just, and I said on there, or I said to you earlier, like, I don't think WrestleMania should be held currently. I do hope it gets pushed back, I don't know, to the summer or to the fall or something like that. Because, with Undertaker, like, every match could be his last match. I know we've been saying that for 3 years now, but it really is true. At some point, it's going to be his last match. And like, what if he gets hurt facing AJ? And like, what if this would be his last match in front of no fans? Come on, like, we can't be having that. But I did think the segment was really well done under all the circumstances, and definitely getting some Big Evil vibes from Taker with the straps down and the skull cap on his head, and talking about Michelle McCool too. Like, I don't know, man. They're definitely teasing something. Like, maybe he performs as Mark Calloway. Like, maybe he does. He sheds the Undertaker for his final match and finally wrestles with Mark Calloway. Who knows, man?
Maybe performs as Chuck Palumbo.
A little cosplay for McCool there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the whole bringing his wife into it, that happened back in 2001, but that was a different wife. God. But that was also, that was when he was the more real character of himself, So yeah, this is the first time we've ever seen the Undertaker be, have his wife brought into storylines. It's kind of weird, so.
Let's hope it doesn't go down that path and have AJ
DDP
stalking Michelle McCool. Yeah, AJ needs to call DDP and see how that worked out for him. But
yeah,
we will talk about that at a later date. As we're creeping closer and closer to the present time. But let's take this time traveling hearse back to 2008, Travis. Pick up where we last left off from that quote-unquote live episode we did last week. Folks, if you haven't listened to that and heard all about WrestleMania 24 and then our trip to meet The Undertaker, please go back in the archives. One of our favorite episodes we've ever done. And, be sure to check out our YouTube page, too, because I put up a little vlog about our journey. I didn't record as much as I wish I did, but I was, we're trying to live in the moment, and it's my first time doing one of those, so, maybe we'll do some more if we have any other fun stuff to go to in the future, but just a little something extra, a few other extra clips of our time together and time there and our travels, so go check that out. But we're going to pick up here the night after WrestleMania real quick before we get into all the storyline stuff, because I do want to mention a very famous Undertaker moment here on March 31st, 2008. And this is, of course, very, very memorable, the Ric Flair retirement ceremony on this episode of Raw. Obviously, Shawn Michaels beat him in his final match, his final WWE match, that is, at WrestleMania 24. Right. And, we've mentioned on here, both of us weren't really watching wrestling at this time, but we watched WrestleMania, and I know I watched this retirement ceremony live. Yep. Okay, yeah, I figured you did too. And it's great, man. It's really touching, really heartfelt. All of Flair's greatest friends, greatest rivals come out, shake his hand, give him his hug. I mean, he is balling through the whole thing. Not MVP style, but BAWLING.
But Ric Flair's always balling.
That is true.
Maybe more so now in his 70s than he was back then.
He might be, man. Ric Flair drip. Triple H brings the entire roster out eventually. They're all giving him a round of applause. And show goes off the air. But on the WWE Network, there's a little after the show thing, and I believe this was released like on YouTube or WWE.com back in the day. But after the entire roster comes out, after the show goes off TV, the Undertaker's music hits, the gong hits, and he makes his usual entrance. He is in full gear, full get up, and a really cool moment. The roster who had been standing there giving Flair a round of applause, they all part to two sides of the ramp and make it to where Undertaker walks through everybody. And Flair, he kind of looks a little bit confused as all this is going. He's got a smile on his face, but he kind of thinks this is a little weird. I think, and it is a little weird. It's like an only in wrestling thing. But,
exactly.
Taker takes off his jacket and his hat and does that Shakespeare kneel and lifts his hands up towards Ric Flair and shakes Ric Flair's hand, raises his arm, and then Undertaker joins the rest of the roster and just standing there applauding Ric Flair. So think about where we've been on this journey, man. Think about the Undertaker that we've seen. Think about all the events that he did not break character for. Like, he wasn't out there for 9/11. He wasn't out there for Owen Hart or Eddie Guerrero or anything. So this shows you a lot about what the Undertaker feels about Ric Flair. That, they waited till it went off TV, but he did want to go out there and pay his respects to Ric Flair. So shows you that commitment that Undertaker has to his character.
Yeah, exactly.
Shows you the respect that Ric Flair has in Undertaker's eyes, and it shows you the respect that the rest of the roster has for Undertaker too, that they all parted to the side for him, and that they all made sure that he went on last and had that moment with Flair. So
because he doesn't even have much of a history. I mean, they had the stuff in '91 with him helping him win the title, and then they had the match at WrestleMania. But other than that, they really didn't cross paths. Made two major occasions, and separated by a decade plus. So it's very, but again, like you said, he's just earned that credit and the goodwill with everybody. So it's pretty cool to see that. And you talking about stuff him then not breaking character over the years. He didn't even break character in Kuwait, man, when he was champion.
That's right.
That TV show. Well, that's why this thing in 2020 is so novel, because he's the same guy, but he is breaking character. So but we'll get to that eventually on episode 694. Whenever he stops wrestling.
Man. Got a ways to go. But so I'm sure everyone out there has seen it, but on the rare chance that you haven't, definitely go seek that out.
I think it's on that after the show. You got me that DVD a few years ago.
It might be on that.
I think it's on that. I know I've seen it online before that, but I think it's on there too. If not, I've seen it somehow. But I remember that night like it was yesterday, but I did forget about covering it when we we're going through our notes here. But anyway, that's going to take us on to the next ride. So that's going to be SmackDown, April 4th, 2008. So it's the first SmackDown after WrestleMania here. And Edge and his cronies, La Familia, come out there. I guess they're called that at this point. Are they? Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. He's about to say it. I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead. So, of course, Vicky's being pushed in a wheelchair by Teddy, and you got the Edge guys out there and Chavo, and Michael Cole reminds us that, not only did Edge lose his title in one of the best main events in WrestleMania history, but Chavo also lost his title in one of the shortest matches in WrestleMania history. So I think it was, 8 seconds or something like that? I remember being flabbergasted watching that.
I know.
Were you there?
I did. I did. I saw that part. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was. But I can't disagree with Cole, man. The main event was an excellent main event, WrestleMania. So, but yeah, it's good stuff. But they're all in foul mood here, and Edge says,
"I have never been so ticked off in my life." I stand out here and I feel naked.
Because he didn't have his title.
It's not the first time he's been naked on WWE TV.
He took the words out of my mouth. It just occurred to me as I was saying that. It's not, and it won't be the last, actually. We're going to cover that in just a second here, too.
God, yeah.
But, without his title, he does feel that way. But, he says he let himself down and let his fans down. And but he's let his fiancée, Vicky, down. and that's the most important thing. And he's just getting huge "you suck" chants, which I love, man. It's just crowd is crapping all over him. He's just such a good heel. But he apologizes and promises that very soon he'll once again be the World Heavyweight Champion. And he hands the mic to Chavo. So you should probably start with Chavo and hand it to Edge. But whatever.
What is Edge wearing in this segment?
Oh man, is he wearing? Oh, he's wearing a Chavo Guerrero
That's
shirt.
right, man. I love that.
And Chavo's wearing an Edge shirt, I think. And if not right now, then later on he's wearing an Edge shirt. So
great,
man, showing the fandom for each other. Yeah. So it's pretty funny. But Chavo does get on the mic right here, and he says that he feels like he let the Familia down. So I think, in my opinion, from what I recall, that's the first time we've heard that. So
yeah, I think so.
So from going on here on out, they'll call him that, and they're going to introduce a new member later on this week, I think, or next week. But he says that Kane cheated at WrestleMania and is too scared to face him, face to face, and he says he'll once again become the ECW champion. And Vicky then gets on the microphone, and before she even gets to speak, she's just getting drowned in booze. And she says, like I think you mentioned last week or the week before, that she started that "excuse me" thing, but it hasn't really become what we come to know it as. But right here, I really noticed it. Like she's like, "Excuse me," and they're just ramping up the booze and "excuse me," and it's just, man, I love where it's headed. Because I remember that scene with her and Cena and Ziggler. God, what year was that? And like John Cena's just a little dying laughing, like because the fans won't stop. Like that was what 2010 or 11 or 12 or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's hysterical to me. I know where we're headed with this "excuse me" stuff, so it's cracking me up. But she says it's her pleasure to announce that they're both going to get their opportunities again at Backlash. So kind of reminded me again of 1997, where just the night after the pay-per-view, it's like, oh, here's your main event. So we're going to get, a rematch of Chavo and Kane for the ECW title and a rematch of Edge and Taker for the a match at Backlash, which, again, I mean, he lost pretty fairly, pretty definitively to Undertaker, but, he's got the heel GM in his back pocket, so Edge's going to get that. So it makes sense. But tonight is going to be champion versus champion, brother versus brother. It's Kane versus the Undertaker in the main event, and which Michael Cole is going to tell us that this is the first time these two have faced each other in 4 years since WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
So I think he's right.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
They kept their distance from each other since then.
Yeah, but it's interesting here because this time they're both good guys, So they've always been
I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, I think so.
They've been heels when they faced each other before, like in 98. I don't think they've ever both been baby faces against each other. So
yeah, I don't think so.
It's a different style match.
It really is, man. It really is. So I do like before the actual match happens, there's this real tight close-up of Kane's face backstage, which is always terrifying because he just looks ridiculous with the half haircut and the contact in. And all of a sudden the camera zooms out a little bit and Taker just walks up and kind of glances at him and nods and then walks on by, and Kane just watches him leave. So, there's still that, they have such a rich history. You can do something small like that and it means something. If this was like Colin Delaney and Trent Beretta, it wouldn't have mattered, you know what I'm saying? But it's these two guys who have such a history. So
he's like, I
apologize.
I got you.
Exactly. I got you. I apologize for bringing those two guys' names up just a second ago. Please forgive me. But the match it's a pretty good match. It's a lot different, like you said, and Cole and Coach are wondering during this match, I wonder if they wrestled each other when they were kids, and they, great question.
You and your brother did.
We absolutely did. I just tagged him in a Facebook thing the other day. It said, if your brother never put you in the Walls of Jericho, which I would call Line Tamer, is he really your brother or something like that? And my brother put me in it pretty much daily, on a daily basis, back in 96, 7, 8, 9. So I put him in it and got him tapped out one time, and he denies it to this day. But I remember it because as the little brother, the one time I ever made my brother lose to me was I had him in the Lion Tamer pinned up against the couch, and he could not bend out of it. So I had my knee shoved in his back, and he tapped, and that's my favorite victory of all time, probably. my big brother tapped out in the Lion Tamer. So he beat me nonstop. So.
I love it.
That's a little side note there.
Yes.
Sorry. That's extra credit for you guys. But anyway, this main event is, it is what it is. Like I said, they kind of start slugging away at each other and really amping up the physicality and stuff. But, of course, he gets ruined because Edge, Hawkins, and Ryder and Chavo run in and attack him, cause a double DQ, and they take him out and pose over them. But then Kane and Taker do the double sit-up spot to him, which is always neat to see them do that when they're on a tag team or whatever. But they double choke slam Edge and Chavo, do the throat slash, and then give their opponents for Backlash a tombstone at the same time. So stereo tombstones. These young up-and-comers, Kane and Undertaker, standing tall at the end of the night, holding their titles in the sky, which is just pretty cool to see. And again, they're the big baby faces walking out of Mania, so it's neat to see them, getting, to stand tall here as we kind of enter the next quote-unquote season of wrestling. So, and just one other thing that happened this night is that there was Natty Neidhart makes her debut, which is just crazy to think about that she's been there for 12 years. Yeah. Like, it's just nuts, man. So she's young here, but she's not old now, but she's very young here, and I think she was Victoria's like mystery tag partner or something like that. So, which I forgot Victoria was there this far in her career. She was there for a lot longer than I remember.
She was there a long time.
But yeah, Natty Neidhart makes her debut, and talking about people who are still there today. Still there.
Yeah, that's going to be the story of this episode. I mean, she's a Hall of Famer for sure one day.
Oh, yeah.
Victoria should be too, for that matter. But
I love me some Victoria.
Absolutely. SmackDown the next week, April 11th, 2008. A lot of times they'll show the graphic at the start of the show with the main event to get you hooked. They got that
make you tune in.
Absolutely. You want to stay tuned for the next 2 hours. And who wouldn't be hooked with this main event, Travis? The Undertaker, the World Heavyweight Champion, in the ring with Biscuits and Festus. This really happened.
I saw this and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, why would they advertise that? To make me tune in.
A match for the ages.
Man.
This SmackDown... Go ahead.
I was going to say Taker faced Kane last week, and he's facing fake Kane this week.
That's true.
May 19th Kane.
This SmackDown is off the rails, man, because they got some ridiculous segments with Edge and Vicky. They're having a spa day, going to relax. They've had a tough couple weeks since WrestleMania, so Edge and Vicky go relax. Also with Teddy Long. He has to stand there and just watch every segment. So first they're getting a couples massage and Teddy's just standing in the background. Then they're getting matching facials and pedicures and
for the same ladies, the rent-a-cops or the rent-a-masseuses. Like they were so bad. They were such bad actresses.
It's all in one service there.
I'm sure it is.
And Edge is getting Strawberry Fields Forever as his pedicure, as his toenail color or whatever. And Teddy Long is just disgusted by all of it.
Baby, it's the simple pleasures in life. It's the simple things that I never would have thought of for myself that you've opened my eyes to today. Whether it's massages or steam baths or matching pedicures. And you know what? You're right. It does take a real man to pull off Strawberry Fields Forever. Strawberry Fields Forever and matching pedicures.
And we actually get a camera view that is inside Teddy Long's eyes at one point. Like the camera cuts to his perspective looking down at Edge and Vicky somehow, man. They invented this new type of camera. I guess they embedded it in his glasses or something. I don't know.
Maybe like Minority Report or something. I don't know. Weird.
Later on, Eve Torres is talking with Jesse and Festus, or just Jesse, really. He's the only one talking. And Jesse is just at a loss for words for all of this. And he's, their whole gimmick is he always says, I've never seen Festus looking like this. And then they cut to Festus and he looks exactly the same as he always looks. Which, bravo to Mr. Gallows' commitment to this role, dude. Put him in the Hall of Fame just for the way that he maintained his character. It's Undertaker levels of maintaining his character, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And can we just talk about for a second? You know how old he is here?
Tell us.
He's 24.
Outrageous.
He looks 44. He looks He looks awful.
We're 34, and he looks at least a decade older than us.
Oh yeah. And he's 24 here, and he is just like, I mean, he's huge, and he just looks like an old man. Like I don't get it. He looks like a middle-aged dad. Like he looks better now in 2020 than he did 12 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. But yeah, kudos to old Drew Hankinson.
It works for him. Well, Undertaker's out next. He makes his grand entrance, and we head to commercial. And before Festus can come out, we get one last vignette with Edge and Vicky. They're in bed in their hotel room. Got some whipped cream and strawberries in bed, and they're playing with it and all that sort of stuff. Edge turns the lights out, and we hear some rustling underneath the sheets. And before they can finish their feast, Teddy turns the lights back on. And he's like, look, there's one thing for me to stand guard at the door, but to make me be here in the room and watch this display, that is beyond the call of duty.
This is strawberry grazing.
I'll say, man.
Yeah, I'd say.
Edge and Vicky got some sort of kink where they want Teddy to watch, man.
Well, Edge has always been into that, with
that
Lita in the ring and stuff. So yeah,
but
Edge's thing.
Teddy also really needs this job, man, because he stood ground for a long time in that hotel room. Oh.
Yeah, I'd have left a long time ago.
Seriously.
I'm out of here.
I don't know what the heck just happened, but it was something else. And I don't know what the heck's about to happen now, but we got Biscuits and Gravy bringing out Festus for his match. Going from strawberry and cream to biscuits and gravy.
One of my favorite theme songs of all time. Seriously, it's fantastic.
Wow. Well, you know the gimmick. The bell rings. Festus wakes up from his stupefied state. And Undertaker goes straight after him. The corn-fed Colossus, as he's called, recovers and kind of holds his own a bit against Taker. Taker gives him a little bit. It doesn't go as short as you think it would. It doesn't go as short as I would like for it to. It goes about 10 minutes long and actually has a ref bump in this match. Festus runs into Charles Robinson and knocks him out. Then Undertaker locks in that deadly submission. That might have to be a shirt. But there's no ref. So Festus is in that submission hold for a long time before Jimmy Corderas runs in and rings the bell. And so the story they're trying to get over here, Jesse runs in and he's freaking out. Festus is bleeding from the mouth like everyone else has. And the announcers are putting over that Festus was in that submission hold longer than anybody's been. They don't understand how he was able to maintain. They're like, he didn't even realize what was happening, and he might have permanent damage from all this. They don't know what the after effects of all this might be. So that's what they're trying to get over. That's really the storyline all month. Is we're really putting over this new submission move, as even more so than we had before, and it's going to play a much bigger part in the storyline after this month as well.
Right, but it's funny because as I'm watching this, I don't remember these episodes. I remember the WrestleMania match, and I knew he was facing Edge at Backlash, but I didn't really watch. We've mentioned we don't really watch. I was paid more attention to Raw than to SmackDown. So as I'm watching this the other day, I'm like, did we just take a week off from storytelling, like to just have this? Like, what was this whole night? Like, it starts to make sense as the rest of the couple weeks go on with Edge taking time off, them putting Taker against these big guys to wear him down. Like, it makes sense. But when you're watching it in a bubble like I am here, I'm like, what just happened? This is like, what is wrong with this night of SmackDown?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think they say at one point, they might have said it after this, but they said, Vicky's stacking these
I think
monsters
it was the week
like
after this,
Festus against Undertaker to wear him down. But yeah, it is definitely weird if you're watching it at the time. Yeah, in a bubble for sure. And then before we get to the next week's SmackDown, there is something that we talked about previously on the show, but we'll mention it here just real quick. That
EC Bubble.
Yeah, that's right.
Talking about in a bubble. EC Bub.
We did our special ECW episode on episode 123 back in the archives, where we talked about The Undertaker his 2 matches in ECW. We fantasy booked some ECW opponents for Undertaker had he competed in the original ECW, and then did a watch along for the December to Dismember Elimination Chamber main event we were at back in the day in our hometown of Augusta, Georgia. Another one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. A really fun one if you never listened to that one. But the Undertaker's second ECW match takes place in the timeline right here. We went into it more in depth on that episode, so we won't really cover it here. But Undertaker and Kane did team up to defeat the SmackDown Tag Team Champions in the year 2008, and also, amazingly, in the year 2020, as we speak, The Miz and John Morrison.
Dude, how crazy is that?
That story of this episode. I mean, Festus just wrestled The Undertaker on Raw. He just had a segment with Undertaker on Raw this week, and he faces them on this SmackDown. And The Miz and Morrison are the tag team champions here. Tag team champions in 2020.
99 Hearts still wrestling. And yeah,
Wild.
it's just,
Wild.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, it's crazy how things change and stay the same at the same time. It's weird. Well, another thing that is weird, it does actually change a little bit. This next SmackDown is April 18th in 2008, and SmackDown's in London, England tonight, but you might not know because of the lack of a double-decker bus. So unless you were paying attention to the giant arena and the fans, that no double-decker.
Did they always do it from this O2 arena? Oh my God, it was massive. It's like
it's huge. Yeah, it is awesome. I love this crowd, man. They're great. It's just, it was just fun to watch. So, I wonder if they'll go over there after Mania this year.
Yeah.
No, I guess
likely.
not, because not likely. Well, we're told that the main event, Vicky Guerrero has booked Undertaker versus Batista for the main event. So we get a video package recapping what happened last week, and Edge and the Edge guys come down for the main event. With ringside tickets, you know, they're not here tonight as performers. They're here as guests in the show, and they're shown throughout the match, looking on, cheering and mocking, you know, Taker and Batista. And these guys, again, they can't have a bad match, no. Taker and Batista. Like, they really can't. Like, it's just not up there with their, you know, 2007 classics, but it's not bad at all either. Like, it's still. Even on a bad, like, even if this was a bad night, it's still great because they're just so good with each other. But but one cool thing during the match is Michael Cole does a really good job telling the history of these two guys together that happened over the last year, plus how Edge kind of inserted himself and was kind of a thorn in their side the whole entire time and stealing the title away from them. And, you know, he's, you know, the point of this match is Vicky's trying to, like we mentioned just a minute ago, that trying to soften Taker up for Backlash. So we got him against his brother Kane in a hard-hitting match. We got him against Festus in a hard-hitting match.
Oh, yeah. We
got him against Batista, former world champion, that always takes him to the limit. So I do appreciate the storytelling here once it honestly had to be spelled out for me, because I was just like, last week's episode of SmackDown was just like, what the heck is going on? But it's funny because then Coach says something like, you better believe Edge has ulterior motives with being at ringside, and Cole's like, yeah, man, I just said that, Coach.
Michael, if you don't think for a second that Edge knows what he is doing, knows that he has been a part of these two men's lives for over a year, you are sadly mistaken. Well, obviously I know that because I just said it, but nonetheless.
Cole is burning Coach, man, which doesn't happen very often.
Well, I think this might be what instigated Coach saying bye-bye here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Because, Coach is not long for this world behind the commentary desk here. So we'll get he'll exchange for another face, if you will. A man who has many faces will come in and take his spot. So I'll tell you what I can take more of, those Cole and Triple H on commentary in the real world. That was fantastic last week on SmackDown.
Let them call WrestleMania.
Oh, heck yeah. So, but anyway, these back to this match. Batista and Taker spill to the outside, and they don't make it back in for the 10 count. So it's a double count out, which is fine. It's, even Steven. They wind up fighting, of course, right in front of Edge, and then Taker just completely unprovoked grabs Edge and just yanks him across the barricade.
Yes. Edge was just minding his business, man.
Yeah.
Didn't interfere, didn't do anything.
Affliction t-shirt, just clapping along. And Taker just grabs him over there and throws him in the ring. and starts beating him up. And then Batista's still trying to fight Taker as well, and they both are in the ring together and trying to put Edge down when Chavo Guerrero runs out, and his new bodyguard, who I believe was introduced on this SmackDown we just, or the ECW we just talked about, Bam Neely.
Who?
So, yeah, Bam Neely, yeah. I think he might have been. He might have even made it to the video game that year. I don't know, but he sucked. Oh,
yep.
Bless their hearts. He was terrible. But anyway, Taker and Batista make short work of Hawkins, Ryder, Chavo, Bam Neely as Edge scurries away. But they, he pretty much take out the rest of La Familia. So and then Vicky is wheeled out by Teddy, and she says,
In the hell do you think you two are? Do you realize the legal jeopardy you have put my company in? I mean, Edge, Hawkins, and Ryder were simply members of the audience watching your match. And then the two of you had to go and attack them? Excuse me!
this company could be in jeopardy now, and they have the right to file civil and criminal charges against both of them. But then she completely just poops on her own threat and says, but that won't be necessary. Because next week, Batista and Taker will face each other for the World Heavyweight title, and the winner faces Edge at Backlash. So they stare each other down in the ring as they anticipate what's happening next week. So I liked her threat, but it was completely empty when she just completely craps on it 2 seconds later. So
yeah, and it didn't really do anything for the whole point of the night. But yeah,
right,
whatever. But it's still fun and still getting more Undertaker and Batista. So always up for that.
Yeah.
Before we get there, though, we'll take one more quick detour over to Monday Night Raw as The Undertaker actually competes on April 21st, 2008. This is a 3-hour special Raw that's got a King of the Ring tournament on there that ends with William Regal and CM Punk, and William Regal wins. And I was
so sure it was going to be Punk that night.
Oh, man, I was so upset, but William Regal did a great job as the heel, as the King of the Ring as well. And man, it seemed like he was set up for like a real main event run, but kind of had some personal issues getting in the way of that, sadly.
Yeah, I think like a month or two later, he was gone for a while. And I mean, he's always great, man.
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
Great. But Punk had the Money in the Bank this time, too, so that's why I thought he would win this King of the Ring, be Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, kind of keep pushing up toward that main event scene, but we'll get there eventually. So,
and then after Hillary Clinton wrestles Barack Obama,
I'm sorry.
Hillary Clinton wrestled Barack Obama, and then we're both beat up by Umaga.
Mm-hmm.
God, I can only hope we get a Joe Biden and Donald Trump match on Raw here in the next few months. Jeez. They also actually had the real Hillary Clinton, the real Barack Obama, and the real John McCain on this episode of Raw doing promos.
Yeah.
They actually got Barack Obama to say,
for the American people, I've got one question. Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
2020 is weird, but 2008 was pretty weird too, man.
It was.
I don't know if we'll be seeing the same thing here with these candidates, but who knows?
No.
Long way to go. Trump's a Hall of Famer. Just
true.
Back in action. The real reason we're covering this, the main event, is a big 8-man tag, co-branded, with Edge, Chavo, Randy Orton, and JBL on one side against Cena, Triple H, Kane, and The Undertaker on the other side. So this is sort of a hybrid of all three of the world title matches happening at Backlash. So you got Taker and Edge facing each other, Chavo and Kane facing each other, and then the Raw main event is a fatal 4-way with Triple H, Cena, Orton, and JBL. So, big mega main event. As you can imagine, there's a lot of action, a lot of fun here, a lot of entrances that ate up a lot of time.
Golly, yeah.
Edge actually ends up getting the win for his team as he spears Kane. But then after the match, that's when everybody runs wild with their finishers and keeps fighting.
Yeah.
Everybody spams them. Cena FUs Edge, Triple H pedigrees. Goes for pedigree on Cena, but JBL hits a clothesline on Triple H. Orton hits an RKO on Cena. Orton and JBL are staring each other down, and then Undertaker, he's going to be the one that drops the hammer. He goozles both these guys, double choke slams them, and he gets to stand tall as the show ends. And he also gets the last entrance out of anybody, too. So, again, just pointing to his role in the company and the respect that all these guys has for him, because six megastars and Chavo, and then Undertaker gets to be the last guy to make an entrance.
Yeah, and I personally think Chavo deserves a Hall of Fame.
Chavo's great.
Not for his, maybe not for his. I don't know. I liked him better in WCW than anything he ever did in WWE. But I love Chavo. But yeah, you're right. He's not. We've talked about him on the show. He's not gonna. He wasn't Eddie. Eddie was the star, but
he wasn't a main eventer.
Still, it is. Former ECW champion. So
true.
Just like Big Zeke, like we talked about last week.
Sure.
But no, yeah, that main event was stacked, and then there was Chavo. So, but anyway, that's going to lead us to the go home show for Backlash. So again, just a short, month. Usually, these April months are usually pretty short between pay per views, which is good for us sometimes. But go home show for Backlash, April 25th, 2008. They recap the last couple weeks of what's going on, and again, they really wrap it up in a nice bow here and present it as, Vicky and Edge's big plan is to put Taker through tough opponents. The show opens up with, I think it's just like after the recap, it just opens up and La Familia and Edge are in the ring already. So they don't even see their entrances. They're just already there. And Edge asks, he's like, can you feel it? Can you feel the excitement in the air? Because, there's a big title match in the main event tonight. And so, he's excited, and he says that, Vicky announces that tonight's main event, not only is it Batista versus Undertaker for the World Heavyweight title, it's now a no disqualification match. Ooh. And Edge, add a little more stakes to it. And Edge calls her a genius for making that match. So he says, you guys can use whatever you want to beat the heck out of each other and get the victory. But this Sunday is more exciting, though, since now we're going to have a new World Heavyweight champion crowned and a new ECW champion. So he's guaranteeing that he and Chavo are going to win this Sunday. And then CM Punk's music interrupts, and he comes out, and it's not, who was it? It was Killswitch Engage or something like that. Was that who it was back then? Yeah, he hadn't. I guess 3 years later he'd get, or 3.5 years later he'd get his Cult of Personality music. But this
I was going to mention too. Orton still has the hey.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot how long he had that. I thought he had the voices music for way longer. But
I think he gets voices in when he's feuding with Triple H before Mania. It's when he starts punting everybody in the head. And I feel like he gets that around that area. I don't really remember because I wasn't watching this religiously right now. But anyway, but it was surprising how late in the game he had that.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, Punk comes out and Edge pokes fun at Punk for losing to Regal in the King of the Ring tournament and says he came up short and he might as well be called the Queen of the Ring. So, yeah.
There you go.
Although...
Why don't they do Queen of the Ring?
Oh, I thought about that last year. They should do a Queen of the Ring night. Yes. They could do it on NXT or something even, do Queen of the Ring and have Charlotte win it.
How have they never done that with this whole women's revolution, man?
I have no idea. It should be something. I mean, it's not hard to write it. It writes itself. It's not hard to book or hard to think of. But although I thought Queen of the Ring could have gone with Rico too, because he had the Duchess of Queensberry match back at in 2001. Yes. So yeah, dressed up as a queen. So anyway, but Punk says, just call him Mr. Money in the Bank, and it's a better way to get to the top when he catches in rather than sleeping with the boss, kind of putting Edge down. And Edge is like, I don't understand what you're talking about. This is my love of my life. I love her. He's going on, and Punk's like,
dude, that's gross, and it's not something I even want to understand.
Which is just great. He's just shooting. That's gross. So, but he's here to remind us that, I got a championship match whenever I want. So he says Edge says he's not worried about Punk cashing in on him, and says Punk's like, well, it's okay, I won't be cashing in on you because it's going to be Batista or Undertaker. Basically, saying that Edge can't beat him. And Punk says, excuse me, he says because Big Dave and Taker have both beaten Edge in the past, so he knows that the Edge can't beat them. So, and they kind of go back and forth like little children until Vicky winds up making CM Punk versus Edge. And that match happens later on, and it's it's a match that I really wish we would have gotten more of once Punk kind of became a full-fledged main eventer after Edge retired, unfortunately, the first time. So maybe, who knows, maybe if Punk comes out of retirement, we can actually get it. So
yeah, who knows?
12 years later. And nothing's for sure anymore in wrestling. I don't know what's happening. So Austin was on Raw this week, and nobody was chanting what. So it's just I don't know what's for sure anymore. There are no guarantees in wrestling. So the first time in 20 years, nobody's chanted what when Austin's on the
might
TV.
have killed it finally after all this stuff.
I thought Byron Saxton was going to yell it from the booth or whatever. It's like what, but anyway,
he just got a nut shot for his troubles with.
Yeah,
Saxton.
exactly. That's all I got. Well, during this match, Coach says that he wonders if Edge is not sleeping his way to the top because he thinks he and Vicky are saving himself for marriage. So, which I don't think that's the case because he must have missed Strawberry Fields Forever the other night. So, but anyway, this match is what it is, and Edge winds up defeating Punk with a spear after the Edge guys provide some distraction there, and then we see a highlight video of Taker using that new submission move, which they still haven't named. But people and just making him bleed, and they talk about how Taker's adapted to the challenging a newer, younger generation of wrestlers, and he's just upped his game and changing his maneuvers, and just like we talk about on this show, he literally changes his repertoire like year after year. It's just to keep up with everybody else. So it's great.
I thought it was really cool too. Like, it was really they don't do this stuff all the time, and then, it was obviously they're building up that part of the storyline for this match and that part of the storyline for Undertaker's character. But yeah, it really, really continued to put that over. Yeah,
I mean, even like if just not the same caliber, but like Jack Swagger started using the ankle lock randomly, years ago, and like they didn't build a montage about why it was so powerful. Now he just started using it one day, like, oh, he's using the ankle lock now. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like stuff like the little nuances like that don't get.
Yep.
They just, if you highlight it and you show it, like Chris Jericho's Judas Effect elbow, like he highlighted that. So he's been practicing it. It's just a stinking elbow. It's not impressive at all. But because they built it up for AEW and New Japan, it means a lot. And when he hits that elbow, he's going to win a match. So, and that they can still do that, right? And so I don't know why WWE glosses over that stuff. But back here they didn't. And like you said, it really puts a spotlight on it. And we had the benefit of hindsight knowing where this match is headed, but it puts over the kind of the definitive nature of that move. When that move is on, boom, match is over. So,
and that just, it goes to show you the power of storytelling with wrestling too. Like it doesn't have to actually hurt. It doesn't have to be a Canadian destroyer off the top rope. Like it doesn't legitimately almost have to kill somebody. Like the Hell's Gate. Like, spoiler alert, it doesn't really hurt that much. The Judas Effect doesn't really hurt that much. But the way that they sell it and the way that they build it up and the way they turn it into something, that's what wrestling is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fake.
Look at the people's elbows, the stupidest move in the history of the planet. It's one of the most over moves of all time.
Exactly.
And it was a joke. Like, it started out as a joke, so whatever. But anyway, Batista and Taker, great main event here, no DQ. They're fantastic, and they really build up to an ending where they're trading these huge signature spots and finishers for near falls. Taker grabs the steps and tries a tombstone Batista on it. Batista reverses into a nasty spine buster on the steps. Just seeing Taker take that move on the steps, made me hurt, man. Like, it just, I don't like when anybody takes a move on the steps, but
it was pretty painful looking.
Great sign in the crowd that says Big Daddy V or BDV, the MVP of SmackDown. So
BDV.
I don't know where this guy's been all my life, but I love that fan. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. But as Batista's about to go for the Batista bomb, suddenly Shawn Michaels comes in out of nowhere with the sweet chin music and kicks him right in the chin. and HBK leaves, and Taker hits a tombstone and pins Batista for the win here. So Taker's really selling this war he's been through, though. He's really playing it up like he's been softened up over the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So that's going to come into play in the match we're going to cover in just a second here too. So Cole says the Edge is going to pick Taker's bones dry in a couple of days. There's not much left on the bones here. So, and again, HBK ran in because he's facing Batista on Sunday. So.
Yeah, it all makes sense. It all comes together, and it all leads to Backlash 2008, the 10th annual Backlash. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I know you and I both never have seen a second of this one. So I went back and found the sign. The sign actually said for BDV MVP equal ratings. So even better.
Even better, yeah.
That guy in the crowd was here to see BDV and MVP.
That's great.
I hope he got his money's worth. I don't think he did. I don't think BDV was on the show anymore. But
yeah, I don't think he was. Yeah, what happened to him?
He's gone. Like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
So yeah, as I was saying, neither one of us ever seen a second of this one before. And the opening video, like we said, we got 2 main events tonight. Well, really 3, because they're building up HBK and Batista as a main event, and that's about to start that famous storyline that HBK and Jericho have, that Chris Jericho always talks about being the favorite story of his career. It's interesting. It's paralleling the Undertaker Edge storyline. They're both going to be the main stories of the summer of 2008 for WWE. And then you got Orton, Cena, Triple H, and JBL. And it's all set to that great classic tune by our boy Kid Rock, All Summer Long, the theme song to this pay-per-view. Man, my favorite month of the summer, April.
No, that's what I was like. I was like, it's all summer long, and this is April. Like, summer doesn't start until, what, June?
Why is it not the SummerSlam theme song?
I don't know. It should have been the SummerSlam theme song. I don't know, man. But they had to get that Kid Rock, man, another Hall of Famer,
That's right.
Kid Rock there. But yeah, all summer long, man. What a guilty pleasure song.
Oh, yeah.
Werewolves of London / what was the other?
Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, Sweet Home Alabama, yeah. Yeah, I should play a medley of all 3 of those together one time. Anyway, but yeah, man, my favorite month this summer is April, when I'm what an idiot. How stupid. So I guess all spring long doesn't really fit, but
that's true. It doesn't have the same ring to it. But
yeah, well, something else doesn't have the same ring to it is commentary table is going to change tonight. So we see that the show opens with them showing the commentators for each brand, and they show Raw, they show ECW, which is, good heavens, Mike Adamle and Taz, maybe?
The Taz, as JR calls him.
The Taz. Is that what he calls him?
He says Mike Adam.
AEW?
No, on this show, he said.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, sitting on our broadcast colleagues, Mike Adamle and the Taz.
That sounds like a morning radio show.
Adam Lee and the Taz.
Hello, welcome to K109. Mike Adamle and the Taz. Yeah. Speaking of other guys who are still there nowadays, is the Taz and JR calling commentary together in AEW. How weird is that? But no Mike Adamle. But anyway, then they cut to SmackDown, and we got Michael Cole, and he secret reveals our new color commentator, and it's the man of many faces, Mick Foley.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coach is out, and Mick Foley's here for a cup of coffee. On the commentary booth. He can't handle it because Vince yells at him too much in his ear. So, I guess he yells in his good ear. Maybe he should yell. He could have turned the headset around.
He should have.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Vince. Sorry. I only got one ear. That's like a skit right there in and of itself.
It should have been.
On the Edge and Christian show. They should redo that. Oh man, it'd be great.
I like it. I thought Coach was fine. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought he did pretty good in the WrestleMania match. And,
sure. Yeah.
He was getting better, but yeah, obviously they're going with the bigger name with Mick Foley here, and I think Mick Foley does a good job while he lasts and brings an interesting perspective to it. So we'll enjoy that for the short time that it is. Edge and Undertaker is going to go second from the top here. The Raw guys are going to get to main event. But we get typically good video package, recapping the past month storyline, and Edge is going to come out first. And interestingly, he is all by himself here. No Familia, no Vicky Guerrero, no Teddy Long, nothing. He's all by himself.
I thought it was strange. I know it happened at Mania. I thought that was because it was Mania, and you saw Ryder and Hawkins come out near the end. But this, I was like, kind of been building up the whole month of him and the family. I don't know. I thought it was strange. But anyway,
well,
whatever.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
The announcers do lay out for Undertaker's entrance as he comes out. And, it's nothing special. Not one of his greatest entrances, but, still awesome presence as always. And then something interesting here. We saw it on SmackDown last week, actually. I think maybe for the first time I'd ever noticed it. But this year on the pay-per-view, Justin Roberts makes the announcements for each guy once they're both in the ring. So championship-style announcements here. Hadn't really done that in WWE before, but they still kind of go on and off with it when they want to do it. Seems like they do it in NXT pretty consistently, but I feel like they're pretty inconsistent on the main roster about when they do it a lot of times, and a lot of times they don't.
Yeah, they don't do it for like the 24/7 title. Or anything, but
even on paper,
sometimes
maybe.
I feel like they do it more on the pay-per-view than they do for like a Raw or something. But yeah,
right.
In NXT, it's like every title gets that big championship entrance, which has its ups and downs. It's really cool. It makes it seem more real, but then you miss out on stuff like 96, 97, 98 when the guys would just run to the ring and start blasting each other. You know, like you miss out on that spontaneity when Taker would just come out and Austin would meet him in the aisleway and start peppering his face with punches. So
that's a great point.
So there are times when it works and there are times when it's okay to forgo that and just let the story tell itself, So
well,
Tories, I'm thinking like 18th century history or something. Whigs and Tories. Sorry,
I was thinking about Tori Wilson. So.
Oh well,
but that's most of the time anyway. So.
Let's say, when are you not?
Well, it works for this one, this entrance style, because Undertaker does something really neat here.
Oh man, yeah, and this is fantastic, man. He's looking real tan, and he's Justin Roberts introduces him, and the camera closes in real tight on Taker's mouth, and like as Justin Roberts is introducing Edge, Taker mouths, "I'm going to hurt you." Like he doesn't yell, he doesn't scream. It's just kind of subtle. It's quiet. He says, "I'm going to hurt you." And at the time I'm watching this the other day because I've never seen this match, I'm like, what a freaking awesome like little touch. Like I don't know. I didn't know if it was just a timing issue, if it was just happenstance or whatever. But like it was. You'll see later on, spoiler alert, it's planned. It's part of the story here. But even the thought of putting that in there,
yes,
I don't think that came from anybody else but him. I can only speculate. It's my opinion. You got to know that was a Taker like suggestion. Like I'm going to say that like right here. Make sure the camera gets it. It's like it is just the nuances, man. His attention to detail is so amazing. And I love it, man. He's a freaking man. I love it. It's so good.
Mick Foley picks up on commentary. Yeah. He's sure to bring it up, which is a great touch, man. He does a good job here. Foley does. Like I said, he talks about Edge countering everything Undertaker did at WrestleMania, but he didn't have a counter for that submission. And the announcers kind of talk about how Edge hasn't been the same since then. Foley, he talks about a match he had 20 years ago where he couldn't. I forget what
with Adrian Street.
Yes,
with Adrian Street,
and how he
put him in some submission or something.
Yeah, he never quite recovered from that submission, and how Edge is probably always going to be never going to be the same from that submission. Just a lot of unique stuff that only Mick Foley could add there.
I didn't know that they named the ring ropes in Japan. One's name was Adrian, one's Street, I guess. He got in that fight and hung his ear up. So that was a stretch for a dad joke. It didn't really work. I apologize, people. It's late.
That's how it goes, man.
I tried.
High risk, high reward.
Swing and a miss. But like some stuff we're going to see here, some high risk, high reward.
That's right.
But again, they're starting up here, and Edge is kind of playing chicken with Taker, and Taker finally gets him and gets to lock up, and they go for collar and elbow tie up, and then Taker just shoves Edge through the ropes, and he just flies out to the outside, and it's awesome, man. I love it. He just Edge gets back up, gets back in the ring. They lock up again, side headlock, shoulder lock blocked by Taker. Edge gets back in the corner. Taker's punching him in the corner, and Foley again is putting over that new submission. And how no one's ever tapped out or no one's ever gotten out of it. And everyone taps and everyone bleeds, and so really cool stuff. Setting us up for the finish of this match. So
I love what Mick Foley said too about how Undertaker has defied logic, and become stronger and faster as he's gotten older, which is why we're doing this podcast about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the rare guy to evolve in that way, and man, he's doing so much more in these matches than we saw him doing 20 years ago. And part of that was character wise, but now he's finally let the reins off, and he's really able to do that sort of stuff. So I loved him pointing that out.
Yeah, it gets weird because like Shawn Michaels, when he came back from his 4-year absence, he was, in my opinion, he's a better Shawn Michaels than he was before because he was clean and sober. But like his style wasn't that far removed from his original self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But like Taker has even changed his style. He's not just walking around like a lumbering, monster like we talked about the first few episodes of this show. Like he was always that big bad guy, that Jason Voorhees or whatever, that Freddy Krueger just chasing you down. He's gotten better and faster and stronger, and Foley's right. I mean, he defies logic. It doesn't make any sense, but somehow he's better. It's crazy, and he's super tan.
He is.
He used to be white as a sheet, and now he's super tan skinny. Man, I love it. He not getting that sting push. So
no, never. He methodically works over Edge, just dominating him, man, with this strength and these newfound skills, and just destroying him in the corner. Edge is able to get a few shots in and clotheslines Undertaker over the top rope, but Undertaker hits that perfect 10 landing, and then Edge hits a baseball slide and sends Undertaker into the barricade. Edge dives off the apron onto Taker, but Undertaker catches him, rams him into the ring post, and just tosses him all around ringside into the barricade. But every time he's going back in and breaking the count. Great spots here. He just wants to have as much time as he can to just decimate Edge. So he gets him up on the apron and starts working that apron offense.
Yeah, then he hits that apron leg drop, and this whole time he's selling his back though, because like I said, Taker he's hit his back on the barricade. Edge has done the baseball slide earlier this week on SmackDown. He got that spine buster on the steel steps. So again, that's kind of the story here. The Edge is going to work on his lower back. So really good stuff. Back in the ring, he scoop slams Edge, leg drop, cover for 2. Edge reverses and hits an Edge-o-matic, but only gets a 1 count. So Taker's still strong enough to kick out real quick. Edge gets on offense. We're really working on Taker's lower back, wrapping the legs around his midsection, just trying to squeeze the life out of him. And Taker's fighting out here, but Mick Foley's recalling, like, Taker's got a high threshold for pain. Like, I know because I've been in the matches with him. So he's like, and he can withstand a lot. So I know it's going to hurt him, but it's going to take a lot more for Edge to get him down. So, and then about that time, Taker rolls over and does those UFC punches just right in Edge's face. So.
Excuse me for coughing there. My coffee went down the wrong pipe. But
it's apropos for an Undertaker match.
Yeah, coughing. I guess so. There you go. You're back on your game with the
There we go.
Strong recovery there.
There it is. I found it.
Yeah, you got it.
Sorry. I misplaced my throne for a second, my crown.
Well, Edge ducks a clothesline. He drop kicks Taker in the lower back. Gets a baseball slide into the back. And Taker's screaming in agony, writhing in pain. And Foley and Cole point out that you don't often hear that from Undertaker. And then Edge takes a page out of one of the greatest legends of our time, Scott Steiner, busts out a Steiner recliner in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, dude.
A camel clutch, as you might call it, but I'll call it a Steiner recliner here.
Oh, yeah.
He's got no sympathy for Undertaker. And Cole, in his infinite wisdom, says,
Dude.
This works on the back of Undertaker, right? Like,
You dummy.
He's trying to get Foley involved on commentary, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's a stupid way to do it.
What a stupid, softball. He just threw him right in the middle. Like, yeah, this works back, right? Like, that's so dumb. But Taker goes to power out here and picks Edge up on his back. And then I think things went a little wonky here because he kind of loses balance and falls forward, but they recover pretty seamlessly, and Edge wraps his legs around.
I thought he was selling right there. I think he's like trying to power up, but he's not quite able
Okay,
to.
well, I thought that it was a flub because they go back to the same spot like 2 seconds later. But
Yeah.
either way, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's fine. Like it wasn't something that like I'm just nitpicking. Like it wasn't
Right.
something that was noticeable. So either way, it's good stuff. But Taker winds up grabbing the ropes to break the hold, and Edge gets on his back again, and Taker lifts him up, and then he just does like okay, you're on my back, I'm going to fall straight back and slam onto you. So, which is always a great way to get out of that move. So yeah, it always looks painful. I don't know how you fake that, like falling with somebody on your back.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you like how do you learn to fall 20-foot ladders? That famous JR quote. How do you learn to fall safely with someone on your back? I don't know. So anyway.
Both guys are up at the same time. Undertaker whips Edge into the ropes, and they hit a double clothesline on each other. They both get up, and then they double boot each other down at the same time, really putting over how Edge is kind of an equal to Undertaker. He's able to counter everything he's got. He's able to match him every time. They get up, and they're trading some soup bones with each other, some of the old yay, boo punches here. Undertaker hits Edge in the corner with a running clothesline. Edge gets flown into the other corner. Taker hits Snake Eyes, big boot, hits an elbow drop, all those moves of doom, but it only gets 2. And then Undertaker heads up top for old school, but Edge boots him down. Edge takes Taker to the top rope and goes for a superplex, but Undertaker shoves Edge down to the mat and goes for an elbow drop off the top rope. But Edge rolls out of the way.
That's a big old elbow drop, man.
It is, man.
It's huge. Pulling out all the stops for this match here. And this gives Edge a chance to kind of just get desperate. He goes outside, rolls out, grabs the World Heavyweight title, and gets on the apron with it. And he drops it. And at the time I'm watching, I was like, oh, man, he goofed right there. But I think that was set up properly because what we see in a minute here is he did that one on purpose. But really cool. So he gets the title. He doesn't get a chance to use it as he gets goozled and drops it to ringside. So, but he reverses that choke and actually winds up dropping Taker neck first over the top rope. Gets in the ring, gets a goozle again. Edge reverses it. Taker reverses with another goozle to the throat. Edge reverses that into a side Russian leg sweep, which we don't see Edge do too often. So, gets a 2 count. But yeah, again, Foley's emphasizing how Edge has an answer for every single thing Taker's doing. He's got a reverse for the reversal. So, that's the story here.
Really cool spot comes after this where Undertaker, he's kind of got Edge up for a tombstone, but or like maybe a Snake Eyes or something. He's got Edge up on his shoulders, but Edge hangs on to the ropes over towards the corner and actually unties the turnbuckle cover while he's still up there in Undertaker's arms. And then Edge scoots off Undertaker's back and kind of spears Undertaker into the corner, right into that exposed turnbuckle pad. Really, really well done there.
Oh yeah, and like you said, he took the turnbuckle pad off and he threw it across the across the ring.
Yes.
So Charles Robinson is kind of distracted here. So Taker gets driven spine first into exposed turnbuckle, but he's the Undertaker, so he comes immediately out and clotheslines Edge.
Right.
And Chris Robinson, Charles Robinson, a much more level-headed Robinson brother, fixes the turnbuckle, and Kurt Hawkins nails Taker in the back with the World Heavyweight title. So he picked it up where Edge dropped it on the outside, comes in and nails Taker in the back with it. So that was good psychology there. And again, the ref being distracted, it was all really well put together, man. I just really liked how this all came together. Edge goes for the cover, gets a great near fall. Great near fall there.
Both guys pull themselves up. Edge goes for a spear. It's countered into a DDT. Gets a 2 count off that. Taker sits up, signals for the choke slam, puts the goozle on Edge, and Zack Ryder pops up on the apron now. Undertaker shoves Edge into Zack Ryder. Goes for the last ride on Edge, but Edge sunset flips out of it and is trying to pin Taker, but Undertaker is able to turn that into that deadly submission move. So the crowd's rolling, they're excited, they know the end is near, and Edge is able to hang on a little bit longer than he did at WrestleMania, but finally taps out to give Undertaker the win here at 18 minutes and 23 seconds to retain the world title. But Undertaker holds on to that submission even longer. He does not want to let it go. Like he said earlier, he's going to hurt Edge, and he does. As Edge finally is let out of it, and he is bleeding from the mouth and barely moving.
Yeah, bleeding from the mouth, barely moving. Vicky has been rolled to ringside by Teddy. I guess she's up out of her wheelchair. As we saw, last week we covered on the episode that she can actually get up and walk. They haven't really gone back to that storyline though, that she's actually faking this or whatever. But anyway, she gets in the ring. She's crying over him, consoling him, and just screaming about it. Hawkins and Ryder are concerned as well. The medics come out to check on Edge. The referees come out to check on him because are they? Like in WWE, are the referees like MDs? Yeah. It's like Charles Robinson, MD. Like Jimmy Corderas, MD. Like they're medical professionals as well.
Yeah, they have EMT training also.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense then. So yeah, but
that's why they put those gloves on whenever there's blood in the ring, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they might start wearing gloves all the time nowadays too. Yeah, who knows? But anyway, Edge is going to do the stretcher job here, as the crowd looks on, and he's going to get taken out. And it's funny because his hand's kind of shaking as he's holding it on his chest, and it kind of reminds me of what happened to him in like 2020 a few weeks ago with Randy Orton when he got, kind of similar thing. But anyway, yeah, he's really selling that devastation. So they've really put Taker's move on a pedestal over the last few months here, and then really right here with Edge just having to get taken out on the stretcher. So
everyone in his familia is freaking out. The Edge heads are crying, and Vicky's crying, and Undertaker's music is playing, but the announcers are quiet. This is a serious moment here. So really,
and the camera never goes to Taker. Like you see, that he's leaving. He's on the stage, like holding his title up because the fans are cheering and they're looking out, like they're looking that way. But the camera never takes attention off of Edge, which I liked they didn't do that, because you didn't need to see Taker walking away again. Like the focus is where the story is headed is based on the ending of this match right here. How Taker held on that move way too long and did what he said he's going to do. And they play a replay that says, where Taker says, "I'm going to hurt you." So still planned. I mean that proves that comment was planned, but I love the insertion of that at the beginning of this match. It was great.
Well, there's one dude in the crowd that's not buying all this, is he?
They're rolling Edge past the crowd up the ramp, and this one dude's like, "Ain't no wrong with him. Ain't no wrong with him. Ain't no wrong with him." And I love that guy.
Where were they? Great. What arena was this?
They were in the First Mariner Arena in Boston.
Boston.
No, not Boston. Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah, so I don't know, man. This guy was from somewhere else. He's like, "Ain't no wrong with him. Ain't no wrong with him."
That's great. I thought, in my opinion, the finish was great. Like a lot of very intricate, all the different spots they had in there to roll into the finish. I enjoyed that. Overall, I mean, definitely not bad, but certainly not up to the level of WrestleMania. I was honestly a little disappointed in it after the WrestleMania match was so good.
Right.
I kind of wanted, I felt like with Undertaker and Batista, like every match was solid. Even if it didn't, I don't know if they all got better, but they were all at least like on par with each other.
Yeah.
This one definitely a lot slower at the beginning, but like I said, the finish was fun, and you can definitely see that this is going to be a much, much longer storyline. Even if you don't know, like we do, that it is, you could tell from the way they were doing that. This is going to go on for a while. But what did you think?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man. It was it wasn't better than Mania, but it was good, but it wasn't one I'd say like. I wouldn't say like definitely go out of your way to see it or anything like that. The Mania match is phenomenal, and so I was expecting maybe that match and then some. But this was definitely not that. So it's a good match though. But it's not going to make my top 10 list or anything like that. So
go watch Undertaker and Festus just for the heck of it.
Just because it happened. Yeah.
And,
wow.
And do certainly subscribe to us on our podcast as we keep rolling on through The Undertaker's Last Ride. We're going to do something a little bit different next week, so we'll talk about that in a second. But we do want you to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you haven't gone through all our archives, 136 episodes now of Taker Talk, going through his career. Man, a lot of people are going to have a lot of time on their hands lately, so be sure to listen to any episodes you haven't. Watch the matches before we get to them, so you'll understand what we're talking about, and we want to hear your comments and your feedback on all the matches out there, folks. Didn't get too much feedback about this match yet, but you can still send it in if you like. We did get some fun feedback from last week's episode from the guys at the Bottom Line Wrestling Podcast. They commented on Undertaker's comment about our show, saying, if you listen to last week's episode, we told Undertaker about our podcast, and he said, well, what do you talk about after the first 5 minutes? So they said the first 5 minutes of our show should just be called Taker's 5. So
there you go.
That's only 5 minutes that matters. Everything after that, who cares?
Who cares?
So I'm in favor of that. I appreciate that. I like that. Not much else for that. Go support them. Go listen to their show. They did a really cool special for 316 Day, and they did basically a watch along for the entire King of the Ring tournament for 1996, where Stone Cold debuted Austin 316 on that night. So a fun look back at that. Go subscribe to their show wherever you listen to podcasts. Go follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you would. Help support us in this crazy time. Go to tpublic.com and pick up a Taker Easy shirt or a poster or anything like that, a sticker, anything can help. Or go to stitcher.com/premium and put in the code TALKINGTAKER for a free month of premium podcast listening. Like you said, we're all going to have a lot more time on our hands, seems like, these days. So go do that. And yeah, next week we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to throw it back from our timeline, and we're going to finally catch up on the one last Royal Rumble that we have not done to watch along for. So we've kind of been burning through those here the past few months. We didn't do the 91, 92, or 93 originally, but now we're going to finally kick it back for the 1993 Royal Rumble. Do a watch along for that entire match. We're going to put an episode in the bank for us so we can try to get ahead a little bit more. So that's why we're doing that, throwing back a little bit in the past. But that'll be next week's episode, and then we'll come back in 2 weeks with Judgment Day 2008 and even more Edge. So it'll give you a little break in the Edge timeline as well. But 93 Royal Rumble watch along, Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez in there, Yokozuna, Macho Man, a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Those are always fun to do. Looking forward to doing
Cream
that.
of the crop.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun. Yeah. Originally we just had that scheduled because I'm supposed to be out of town next week, and we weren't sure what we're going to be able to do. Who knows with the way the world is, what's going to happen or not. But anyway, yeah, everybody seems to have more time on their hands, but I have less because I'm working more hours and my kids are all home from school.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So I actually need a little breather for a second so I can get ahead, so we can actually get ahead for watching this stuff. So anyway, yeah, weird. But I do want to recommend you guys watch. Again, if you're a fan of Taker, you've been with us through this. You know that two of his classic opponents are Steve Austin and Bret Hart, and we covered them a lot in 96, 97 on here. And they just had a Broken Skull session. I think it dropped this week, and on 316 Day. And I watched it the other night, and it was very good. It was really short, though. I wish it was a lot longer. I know those guys have a lot more to talk about. They really broke down their match at Mania 13. Which is really cool, but really interesting Taker talk in there is that Bret is talking about the Montreal Screwjob. Obviously, that's how they start the whole show off. But he talks about how Taker's the one that was like, we're going to get Vince and figuring this out like after it happened. So, which I've heard that before in shoot interviews, or Bruce Pritchard talking about it, or Vince Russo talking about it, or Bret or Sean. But like he's talking about how Taker's the guy that's like, no, like we gotta figure out what the heck just happened. I'm going to get Vince. Like when Bret gets out of the shower, there was like, I'll have Vince here. for you or whatever. So like apparently that was the Undertaker that went and got Vince and said you need to come talk to Brett. So
Wow.
again, dude, he'd only been there for 7 years, like 7 years because it was Survivor Series, and only been in the business for like 9 or something. You know, just how crazy that he had that clout back then to go get the boss and say you better come make this right, like somehow, some way. So I just thought that was cool, and he's actually in the room when Brett punched Vince in the face. I didn't realize. I forgot that all the people that were in the room that night too. Brett lays it out. So anyway,
what a wild moment.
What a surreal story.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Man.
What a wild west story. But anyway,
Seriously.
they briefly touched on Taker there, and it's just really neat because again, those two guys talking it's always fun because you know Brett led to the creation of the Mr. McMahon character unintentionally, which led to Austin's rise to the top. But you know, so it's like it's
right.
funny how it all. You know, we talk about early on in this podcast, episodes 1 and 2, talk about how wrestling's like a comic book that never ends, and the stories just keep going. They continue. Yeah, it's funny how all that was like one big story that accidentally fell into their laps. So, neato, gang.
Wild stuff. Like we said at the beginning, it's wild times right now. We're recording on Tuesday. This episode dropped, late Thursday, early Friday. So who knows what the world's going to look like in a few days. But once again, we appreciate you guys listening and your support for the show, and we're gonna keep pumping them out, while we can and while everything's good with us. So hopefully it will continue that way, and we'll continue to be able to provide you guys just a small bit of entertainment while all this craziness is going on. But seriously, our thoughts and our prayers are out with all of you guys out there who are affected in it, whether it's through actual health concerns or through financial concerns, or whether you just got your kids at home more than you thought you would and you got that going on, because that's a real concern too. So, thoughts and prayers and out there to everybody out there.
Yeah, spread the word of Talking Taker. Spread the love. Don't spread the virus. And
Bingo.
Listen up and be careful out there. And if you were there at the First Mariner Arena in Baltimore, if you were the guy that said whatever that quote was at the end, I forgot.
Yes.
he ain't hurt.
Ain't nothing wrong with him.
Ain't nothing wrong with him. Yeah, if you're that guy, we want to know. But yeah, if you were there that night, let us know what you thought about this match. Did it hold up to the WrestleMania match or not? And let us know. Or if you were there when you saw Festus wrestle Undertaker, we'd love to know that. So, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, take her easy.
Baby, your lips are so sweet. It's like your lips are the berries. As the assistant general manager of SmackDown.
Oh my God. Oh.
You know, it's one thing to have me stand guard at the door, but to have me stand here and witness the strawberry grazing? Oh, hell no. That's beyond the call of duty. I'm out of here. What is it?
Oh, he always ruins our moments.
Baby. Calm down. Don't worry about him. Don't worry, calm down. Because, baby, I'm going to get you back in the mood.